You have been paying for something, whether you realize it or not. Every thought you have entertained, every belief you have accepted, every feeling you have nurtured, these have all been transactions, deposits into the unseen account of your reality. And now the time of withdrawal is near. What you have been investing in, consciously or unconsciously, is about to manifest. You are always paying, not with money, but with attention, with emotion, with conviction. Each moment you are purchasing your future with the currency of your mind. The outer world is only a mirror, faithfully reflecting what you have been feeding within. The delay you may have perceived was never denial. It was the time required for the seed to break through the soil, for the unseen to solidify into the seen. Look around at your life, at the circumstances unfolding before you. They did not come from chance. They are the fruits of past payments, the returns on previous investments of thought and feeling. And if you have been consciously directing your inner world, if you have been persistently dwelling in the assumption of your wish fulfilled, then prepare yourself. What you have paid for is about to be delivered. Doubt no longer. The signs are already appearing, whispering to you that the unseen forces have moved, that reality has bent to match the image you have held. Do not waver now. Stand firm in the knowing that what you have long envisioned is now inevitable. The moment you assumed it, it was set in motion. Time only exists to bring forth what you have accepted as true. If you have sown fear, let this be your awakening. Change the payment, alter the investment, redirect your inner transactions. For what you entertain consistently must come to pass. But if you have sown faith, if you have persisted in the unseen reality, despite what your senses argued, then rejoice. Your payment is complete. The unseen doors are swinging open. The reality you once only imagined is now stepping forward to meet you. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every emotion you nurture, these are not passive experiences. They are transactions. Payments made in the unseen realm that shape the reality you call your life. You are always paying for something, whether you are aware of it or not. Your attention is the currency, and what you consistently dwell upon becomes the purchase you will inevitably receive. The life you are living today is simply the accumulation of past payments, the manifestation of what you have invested in with your mind, your feelings, and your assumptions. There is no escaping this truth. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, you are engaged in a continuous exchange with reality. Every moment you are either reinforcing an old assumption or creating a new one. Every reaction, every fear, every hope, and every expectation contributes to the unseen forces that move to fulfill the orders you place with your imagination. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing arrives uninvited. What appears in your life is merely the sum of what you have persistently entertained within. If you have ever wondered why certain patterns repeat, why certain experiences seem to follow you, look no further than your inner world. Your thoughts are the architects, your emotions the builders, and your beliefs the foundation upon which your world is structured. If you constantly focus on lack, if you consistently worry, if you repeatedly affirm that things never work out for you, then you are paying over and over again for a reality that reflects those assumptions. The universe does not judge, it simply delivers what you have paid for with your sustained attention. But this is not a cause for despair. In fact, it is the most empowering truth you can ever embrace. If you are always paying for your reality, then you also have the power to change what you purchase. You are not bound to past mistakes. You are not a victim of circumstances beyond your control. You are the source of all that appears in your experience, and with this awareness, you can begin to consciously redirect your transactions. Imagine walking into a store where everything you see is determined by what you have been thinking and feeling. If you have been dwelling on fear, you find shelves stocked with experiences that confirm your worries. If you have been embracing abundance, you find opportunities and blessings appearing effortlessly. The choice is always yours. You do not need to fight the old. You simply need to stop paying for it. Withdraw your attention from that which does not serve you, and it will begin to dissolve from your life. Most people move through life unaware of this process, believing they are at the mercy of random events, external conditions, and the actions of others. But nothing is random. The subconscious mind records every dominant thought, every deeply felt emotion, and every belief that is accepted as true. Over time, these become the scripts that the world must play out. If you believe that life is hard, that people cannot be trusted, that success is rare, then your subconscious mind ensures that these beliefs become your lived experience. But if you hold to the idea that you are always supported, that things are always working out for you, and that you are worthy of all the good life has to offer, then reality has no choice but to mirror that back to you. This is not wishful thinking. It is the way creation works. Your imagination is not just a tool for entertainment. It is the blueprint of your reality. What you vividly imagine and feel to be real begins to take shape in the unseen before it materializes in the seen. Just as an architect creates a design before a building is constructed, your inner world must take form before it is reflected in your outer world. The problem for most people is that they continue to look at what is, reinforcing it with their attention, and in doing so, they unknowingly purchase more of the same. To break free from this cycle, you must become conscious of what you are paying for. You must take responsibility for your inner transactions. The good news is that change does not require force or struggle. It requires awareness. The moment you begin to shift your focus, the moment you choose to dwell on what you wish to experience rather than what you fear, you begin the process of transformation. It may not be immediate, but it is inevitable. Just as a seed takes time to grow, your new assumptions need time to take root. But if you persist, the harvest is guaranteed. You have the power to change everything. You can begin now. Decide what you want to experience. Feel it as though it is already yours. Pay for it with your unwavering belief, with your joyful expectation, with your deep knowing that what you desire is not only possible, but already on its way to you. Do not concern yourself with how or when. That is not your job. Your only responsibility is to maintain the assumption, to continue paying for the reality you desire with your thoughts and feelings. The moment you accept it as real within, the wheels are set in motion, and nothing can stop what you have claimed. This is the secret that has been hidden in plain sight. Everything you see around you, everything you have ever experienced, is the result of an internal process. Change that process and your world will change with it. You do not need to struggle to fix the outside. You only need to adjust the inside. The rest takes care of itself. You are always paying. Make sure you are paying for what you truly want. What you have been imagining and feeling consistently is about to manifest. This is an unavoidable law, as certain and precise as the rising of the sun. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption that has occupied your mind with persistence has been forming itself into reality, preparing to reveal itself in your world. What you have nurtured in the unseen is now taking shape in the seen. You may not have realized it, but you have been creating all along, consciously or unconsciously, and the moment of recognition is upon you. Nothing comes into being without first existing in consciousness. Before anything appears in your life, it must first exist in the realm of imagination, held there with belief and feeling. This is not theory. It is the fundamental nature of creation. The world you see before you is nothing more than a reflection of the assumptions you have persisted in. Every success, every failure, every experience, whether joyful or painful, has been born from the state of mind you have occupied most frequently. There are no accidents. There is only the unfolding of what has already been accepted within. If you have been imagining abundance, feeling the joy of already having it, and believing in its inevitability, then abundance must show itself in your life. If you have been dwelling on lack, worrying about what is missing, and feeling the emotions of struggle, then that too must manifest. The law does not distinguish between what you want and what you fear. It only delivers what you have impressed upon it. The mind is the master sculptor, and the reality before you is its masterpiece. Now, you may wonder why you have not yet seen the full evidence of what you have been imagining. The answer is simple. Reality takes time to catch up to what has been assumed. Just as a seed does not sprout the moment it is planted, your imagined state requires gestation before it materializes. But make no mistake, it is already in motion. The unseen forces have arranged themselves, and what you have consistently entertained in your mind is now making its way into your life. Perhaps you have felt moments of doubt, where the physical world seemed unchanged, causing you to question whether what you desire is truly on its way. But doubt is merely a test of your faith, an invitation to persist in your assumption despite appearances. The moment you waver, the moment you begin to question, you delay the process. But when you remain steadfast, when you trust in the reality of what you have imagined, the path becomes clear, and what you have longed for moves closer with each passing moment. There are signs all around you, subtle hints that what you have been imagining is breaking through into physical form. You may notice synchronicities, little coincidences that align too perfectly to be random. You may hear conversations that seem to affirm your inner vision. You may feel an unexplainable sense of knowing, a quiet assurance that something is shifting. These are not mere coincidences. They are glimpses of the unseen becoming seen. The world is responding to you, revealing the truth that your inner reality precedes your outer one. Do not allow yourself to be deceived by the illusion of time. The delay you perceive is not a denial. It is the unfolding of what has already been set into motion. Just as a flower does not bloom the moment it is planted, your assumption takes time to materialize. But the moment you claimed it as real within, it became an inevitability. Your only task now is to remain aligned with it, to continue feeling as though it is already yours, to refuse to be swayed by appearances. This is where most people falter. They look at their current circumstances and believe in them more than in their inner vision. They react to what is, rather than persisting in what will be. And in doing so, they reset the process, delaying the very thing they seek. But you must not make this mistake. You must hold firm in the belief that what you have imagined is on its way, that it is already done, and that all that is required is your unwavering faith. The moment you truly accept it as done, your world begins to shift. People, events, and circumstances rearrange themselves in ways you could never have predicted. Opportunities arise seemingly out of nowhere. The right people appear at the right time. Everything moves in harmony with your assumption. This is the power of creation, the law that governs all things. Look around at the world you live in. Everything that exists, every building, every invention, every success story was first imagined. It was first held in someone's mind as a possibility before it became a reality. The only difference between those who create their desired life and those who remain stuck is belief. Those who succeed assume their vision is real long before they see evidence of it. They refuse to entertain doubt, and because of this, their vision must become fact. You have been paying for something with your imagination, with your emotions, with your repeated thoughts. Whether you were aware of it or not, you have been placing an order with the universe, and now that order is about to be fulfilled. The moment of delivery is near. You must prepare yourself not by doubting, not by questioning, but by receiving it in your mind with certainty. Feel the reality of it now. See yourself already living in the experience you desire. How does it feel? How do you move? How do you speak? Let that feeling consume you. Let it settle deep into your being, and know that nothing can stop what you have set into motion. The world has no choice but to conform to what you have imagined persistently. You are the creator of your experience. You always have been. What you have been envisioning is not a distant possibility, it is a certainty. And as you stand on the threshold of manifestation, all that is required is your unwavering acceptance. You need not force it. You need not chase it. You need only receive it in your mind and trust that the process is complete. The time of waiting is over. What you have been imagining is no longer just an idea. It is becoming tangible, visible, undeniable. You have persisted, you have believed, and now you are about to witness the unfolding of all that you have conceived in the quiet chambers of your mind. Your past investments in belief, thought, and feeling are now returning to you in the form of reality. Nothing that you have imagined persistently has gone to waste. Every thought, every assumption, every feeling you have entertained has been recorded in the invisible fabric of existence, waiting for its appointed time to appear in your life. Now the moment has arrived. What you have been paying for, what you have been nurturing in the unseen, is about to become visible. Everything in life operates on a principle of return. Nothing is ever lost. The energy you have poured into a vision, whether consciously or unconsciously, is never wasted. It circulates, gathers form, and eventually materializes. The challenge is that most people do not recognize this process while it is unfolding. They imagine something, they feel it deeply, and when they do not see immediate results, they assume their efforts were in vain. This is never the case. The seed has been planted, and whether you realize it or not, it has been growing beneath the surface all along. Consider the farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up each day to check its progress. He does not question whether it will grow. He knows the process is underway, and he simply tends to the soil, confident that the harvest will come. Your manifestations operate on the same principle. Every thought, every belief, every expectation is a seed that must bear fruit in due time. You may wonder why some things take longer than others to manifest. The answer lies in the intensity and consistency of your assumption. The more conviction you have, the faster the return. Doubt slows the process. Belief accelerates it. When you waver, when you allow fear to creep in, you interrupt the natural flow of creation. But when you stand firm, when you hold your vision as an absolute reality, the universe moves swiftly to bring it into form. Now, the energy you have invested is returning to you. You have been paying for something with your focus, your emotions, your assumptions. And now the balance is due. You are about to receive what you have long imagined, whether you are prepared for it or not. This is why awareness is so crucial. Most people are unaware of what they have been paying for. They assume negative thoughts have no consequences, that doubts and fears are harmless. But everything is accounted for, everything is creating. Think back to the times you have felt something so strongly that it seemed inevitable. Perhaps you feared a certain outcome, and despite your efforts to avoid it, it happened anyway. Or perhaps you held on to a dream, believing in it with unwavering certainty, and it came to pass exactly as you had envisioned. These were not coincidences. They were the natural consequences of your state of mind. Right now, the things you have given energy to are making their way into your life. The question is, are you ready to receive them? If you have been imagining abundance, joy, and fulfillment, then prepare yourself to step into that reality. But if you have been dwelling in doubt, fear, and lack, then you must shift your state before those things materialize. The universe does not decide what to give you, you do, through your dominant thoughts and feelings. You must ask yourself, what have I been paying for? Have I been investing in the reality I desire, or have I been spending my energy on fear and limitation? If you have been imagining yourself as prosperous, successful, and fulfilled, then that is the experience you are about to encounter. If you have been seeing yourself as lacking, struggling, and waiting for things to change, then that too is about to unfold. The choice has always been yours. There is no force outside of you determining your destiny. You are the only creator in your experience. Everything that happens in your life is a direct reflection of your internal state. If you want to change what is coming, you must change what you are sending out. But if you have been holding on to a vision of greatness, then stand firm. Your reward is near. Many people struggle with this truth because they believe that effort, action, and struggle are required to receive what they desire. But the true work has always been internal. The real currency of manifestation is thought and feeling. What you assume to be true, what you feel as real, is what must come to pass. This is why those who understand this principle do not worry. They do not concern themselves with how or when their desires will appear. They simply live in the certainty that it is already theirs. They walk with the confidence of one who knows that the unseen is more real than the seen, that the invisible is always shaping the visible. Now you are about to experience this truth for yourself. What you have been cultivating internally is about to become external. Your world is shifting, aligning with the thoughts and beliefs you have held on to the most. The unseen forces have been working tirelessly to bring you what you have demanded through your consciousness. Look around, and you will begin to notice signs of this unfolding. You will see patterns forming, doors opening, and synchronicities appearing that point to the inevitable arrival of your vision. These are not accidents. They are confirmations that the energy you have invested is returning to you in full measure. Do not resist it. Do not question it. Simply step into it with the full awareness that you are receiving exactly what you have been paying for. If you have been envisioning love, love will meet you. If you have been imagining success, success will greet you. If you have been expecting abundance, abundance is already on its way. But if what you see does not align with your desires, do not despair. This too is a lesson. It is a reminder that you have the power to shift your assumptions at any moment. You are never stuck, never bound to a reality you do not want. You need only change what you accept as true, and the world must rearrange itself to match. For now, stand firm in the knowing that your return is imminent. The energy you have put out is coming back, and it will not be denied. Receive it with gratitude, with confidence, and with the full awareness that you are the master of your fate. The moment you fully embrace the feeling of already having what you desire, the universe has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Your external world is always a perfect mirror of your internal state. There is no separation between the inner and the outer. They are one and the same. What you consistently feel and accept as true within will inevitably manifest in your reality. This is the law of consciousness, the foundation upon which all experience is built. Most people live their lives waiting for external changes to make them feel a certain way. They believe that once they receive love, they will feel loved. Once they achieve success, they will feel successful. Once they have wealth, they will feel abundant. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality works. The feeling must come first. You do not wait for love to arrive, you become love. You do not wait for success, you embody it. You do not wait for abundance, you feel it now in this moment. When you fully step into the state of already having what you desire, you send a clear signal to the universe. There is no doubt, no hesitation, no questioning. You are no longer trying to make something happen. You are simply living as if it already has. This shift is subtle but powerful. It is the difference between wishing and knowing, between wanting and being. When you are in this state, there is no sense of lack. You are not longing for something outside of yourself because in your mind you already possess it. Consider the way you would feel if your desire had already been fulfilled. How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? You would not be anxious hoping for a change. You would move with confidence, with certainty, with a deep sense of peace. This is the key. When you assume the feeling of already having your desire, you collapse the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You no longer see it as something in the future, it is already here, and your world must shift to reflect it. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something that feels untrue. It is about finding the feeling within you, even if only for a moment, and expanding it. When you wake up in the morning, take a few moments to feel the reality of your desire. Not as something distant, but as something real, present, and inevitable. Let yourself experience the joy, the relief, the satisfaction of knowing it is already done. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day. Each time doubt arises, gently return to the feeling of certainty. It is not the act of wanting that brings manifestation, it is the act of being. Many people spend their lives in a perpetual state of wanting. And because wanting implies lack, they continue to experience lack. To shift this, you must move beyond wanting and into being. You must see yourself as already possessing what you seek. This is the secret that separates those who struggle from those who effortlessly receive. Everything in your life right now is a result of the feelings you have dominantly held. If you look around and see struggle, it is because struggle has been the dominant state within you. If you see abundance, it is because abundance has been your internal reality. The good news is that you can change this at any moment. You do not have to wait. The shift happens the moment you decide to feel differently, to see yourself differently, to embody the state of already having. When you assume the feeling of already having your desire, you will begin to notice small confirmations everywhere. You will see signs, synchronicities, and little moments that reflect your new state of being. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of your assumption taking shape in the physical world. Do not dismiss them, celebrate them. The more you acknowledge these signs, the more you strengthen your belief and the faster your manifestation will unfold. It is important to recognize that you do not need external validation to sustain your belief. Many people make the mistake of looking for proof before they commit to their new state. But manifestation does not work this way. The proof comes after the assumption, not before. If you wait for evidence before you believe, you will always be stuck in the cycle of waiting. But if you believe first, the evidence will inevitably follow. This is why imagination is so powerful. Your imagination is the gateway to reality. When you close your eyes and vividly see yourself living in the end result, you are not simply daydreaming, you are creating. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts what you consistently impress upon it. This is why visualization, when done correctly, is so effective. It is not about hoping for something to happen. It is about feeling as though it already has. You do not need to force anything. The shift happens naturally when you allow yourself to fully embrace the feeling. Think of a time when you experienced something wonderful. Perhaps it was a moment of deep love, a great achievement, or an unexpected blessing. Remember how that moment felt. That feeling is the key. If you can recreate that feeling in relation to your current desire, you have already succeeded. Your world will move to match your new state. One of the most common obstacles people face is the belief that they are not worthy of what they desire. They carry subconscious doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that block them from fully embracing their vision. But the truth is, you are always worthy. You do not have to earn your desires. They are already yours. The only thing required is that you step into alignment with them. If you find yourself struggling with doubt, remind yourself that your desire exists for a reason. It is not random. The fact that you can imagine it means that it is possible for you. You would not have the desire if you were not capable of experiencing it. The only thing standing between you and your vision is your ability to accept it as real. The shift happens the moment you decide to live in the end, not tomorrow, not someday, right now. The more consistently you assume the feeling of already having, the faster your world will rearrange itself. And when the manifestation arrives, it will feel natural, as if it was always meant to be. Because in truth it was. You have simply aligned yourself with what was already yours. There comes a moment when all the effort, all the unseen work, all the silent shifts in consciousness come together, and the reality you have long imagined steps forward to meet you. You may not know the exact moment it will happen, but the truth is, it has already begun. The world outside is not separate from the world within. Everything you see, touch, and experience is an outpicturing of your inner state. The moment you accept this, you will understand that you are never truly waiting, you are aligning. The delay you perceive is not a sign that your desire is far away. It is an invitation to deepen your belief, to stand firm in the knowing that what you have prepared for is now unfolding. Most people waver in this crucial phase. They look outside for confirmation, for proof that their manifestation is on its way. And when they don't see immediate changes, they assume nothing is happening. But what they fail to realize is that movement always begins in the unseen. Just because you cannot yet touch it with your hands does not mean it is not real. The seed grows beneath the soil long before it breaks the surface. The sunrise begins its journey long before the first light appears on the horizon. The manifestation is always in motion, even when you cannot perceive it. The final stretch before manifestation often brings the greatest challenge, the test of faith. You may feel moments of doubt, questioning whether you have truly done enough, whether you are truly in alignment. But faith is not about external evidence. Faith is the evidence. The moment you question, the moment you begin to seek outward signs for validation, you introduce hesitation into your state of being. The key is to remain unwavering, to live as though you already have what you desire, to rest in the certainty that the unseen is as real as the seen. Think of a time when you ordered something important, something you truly needed or wanted. The moment you placed the order, you knew it was coming. You didn't wake up each day doubting its arrival. You didn't question whether the universe was capable of delivering it. You simply expected it. You may have even prepared for it, creating space, making adjustments, getting yourself ready. This is the exact same principle that governs manifestation. Once you have placed the order through your assumption, it is done. The only thing left to do is remain in the feeling of its inevitability. The way to solidify this knowing is through preparation. When you truly believe something is coming, you make space for it. If you believe that love is entering your life, you begin to act as though love is already present. You make room, you open your heart, you walk through the world as someone who is already loved. If you believe that financial abundance is yours, you no longer operate from lack, you operate from abundance, from security, from a place of knowing that all your needs are met. This is not a game of pretending, this is a shift in being. You are no longer hoping for something to come, you are aligning with what is already yours. There is a subtle but powerful distinction between trying to make something happen and simply knowing it is done. Trying implies effort, struggle, force. It suggests that you must push against reality to bend it to your will. But knowing is effortless. It is the quiet confidence of someone who understands the nature of creation. It is the ease of someone who has already claimed what is theirs. When you reach this place of inner knowing, external conditions lose their power over you. You no longer react to circumstances because you understand that circumstances are only the reflection of past assumptions. You are not bound by them. You are the creator of them. Many people ask, how do I know if I'm truly in the state of the wish fulfilled? The answer is simple. How do you feel? If you feel at peace, if you feel secure, if you feel as though what you desire is already yours, then you are in the state. If you feel anxious, if you're constantly checking for signs, if you are filled with doubt, then you are still operating from a place of separation. The solution is always to return to the feeling of already having. Even if the external world has not yet caught up, your internal world must remain firm. Manifestation is not about forcing the world to change. It is about becoming the version of yourself who already has what you seek. The moment you shift internally, the external must follow. It has no choice. The law is absolute, but the timing is determined by your ability to remain steadfast in your knowing. Those who waver, who question, who oscillate between faith and doubt prolong the process. Those who remain unwavering see the evidence unfold swiftly. One of the most powerful things you can do in this final phase is gratitude. Gratitude is not about waiting until you receive something to be thankful. It is about expressing thanks now, in the certainty that it is already done. When you wake up in the morning, move through your day as though you are already living in your fulfilled desire. Feel the appreciation for what has already arrived, even if your eyes have not yet seen it. This attitude of gratitude accelerates the process, because it signals to the universe that you are already in possession of your desire, and the universe always responds in kind. Another key practice is detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means you no longer operate from a place of need, you do not chase, you do not grasp, you do not operate from desperation. You simply know that what is meant for you cannot be lost. This is one of the most liberating realizations you can have. When you truly believe that your manifestation is inevitable, you relax, you enjoy the present moment, you trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This state of ease, this state of surrender, is often the final step before the physical manifestation appears. There is nothing more powerful than the consciousness of someone who knows that their reality is already shaped. When you carry this knowing within you, the world bends to accommodate it. People will reflect your new state. Opportunities will emerge effortlessly. Circumstances will rearrange themselves in ways you could never have planned. The path will clear, and what once seemed impossible will now feel natural, inevitable, and even ordinary. Because in truth, it was always meant to be. You were never truly waiting, you were only becoming. And now you are ready. Everything begins with the mind. The world you see, the circumstances you face, and the people you encounter are all reflections of the consciousness you hold. If you believe the universe is against you, it will show you resistance at every turn. But if you assume that life is working in your favor, then doors will open where there were none before. Do not wait for evidence before you believe. The mistake many make is demanding proof before accepting a truth. But that is not how creation works. You must first embody the feeling, walk in the assumption, and carry yourself as though it were already done. The outer world bends to the inner state, not the other way around. If you desire wealth, hold yourself as one who already possesses it. If you seek love, live in the vibration of already being cherished. If you long for health, feel the vitality within you before the body reflects it. The secret is simple. Assume the universe is on your side. Not sometimes, not conditionally, but always. Walk through life as though unseen hands are guiding you, as though every closed door is leading you to something better, as though every setback is a setup for your highest good. When you move with this certainty, you will see a shift in the world around you. People will respond differently, opportunities will arise effortlessly, and what once felt impossible will unfold before you. Doubt is the only enemy. The moment you question whether you are supported, whether life is conspiring for you, you step out of alignment with that power. But the moment you trust, without needing to know how, without searching for guarantees, you become a magnet for all that is meant for you. Live now as the person who has already received. If you knew beyond all doubt that everything was working in your favor, how would you carry yourself? How would you walk into a room? How would you speak, think, and act? Step into that version of yourself today. Let your thoughts, your posture, and your energy reflect the knowing that the universe is on your side, and then watch as reality bends to meet you exactly where you stand. The world you experience is not separate from you. It is an extension of your consciousness. Everything you see, everything you encounter, and everything you react to is a mirror reflecting back to you the contents of your mind. Most people believe they are at the mercy of external conditions, that life happens to them, and that they must struggle against forces beyond their control. But the truth is quite the opposite. The world does not act independently of you. It conforms to the assumptions, beliefs, and feelings you carry within. When you change what you accept as true in your mind, reality shifts to match it. Look around at your life. The relationships you have, the opportunities that come your way, the struggles you face, all of them are projections of your dominant inner state. If you believe people are untrustworthy, you will encounter betrayal. If you believe money is hard to come by, you will experience scarcity. If you believe life is unfair, you will find constant evidence to support that belief. But the moment you shift your inner reality, the outer world responds. Believe that you are loved and love will manifest. Believe that you are successful and doors will open. Believe that life is on your side and everything will begin to work in your favor. This is not wishful thinking. It is the fundamental law of creation. Consciousness is the only reality. Everything originates from the unseen realm of thought before it takes form in the physical world. A building first exists as an idea in an architect's mind before it is constructed. A song is first felt as an inspiration before it is played. Your life is no different. Every experience, every person, every circumstance that enters your reality was first conceived in the unseen realm of your own mind, whether consciously or unconsciously. Most people live in reaction to what they see, allowing the external world to dictate their thoughts and emotions. But this is living backwards. If you react to lack, you reinforce it. If you react to negativity, you invite more of it. The key to transformation is to reverse this process. Do not let appearances shape your inner world, but let your inner world shape appearances. The moment you take control of your assumptions and direct them consciously, you become the master of your reality. This means you must be vigilant about what you entertain in your mind. Every thought you accept as true is like a seed planted in the soil of your subconscious, and it will grow into the experiences you encounter. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, you will harvest struggle and hardship. But if you plant seeds of confidence, love, and abundance, you will reap a life filled with joy and fulfillment. You cannot expect a garden of roses if you have been sowing thorns. Many people try to change their lives by working harder, by struggling against circumstances, or by attempting to force the world to comply with their desires. But this is like trying to change a reflection in a mirror by manipulating the image instead of adjusting the source. The mirror does not create the image, it only reflects it. Likewise, the world does not create your experiences. It only reflects the state of consciousness you hold. If you want to change anything in your life, the first and only place to start is within. Ask yourself, what assumptions am I carrying? What beliefs am I reinforcing daily? What emotions am I cultivating? These are the true creators of your experience. If you assume you are unlucky, life will provide evidence to confirm that. If you assume you are worthy of great things, life will bend to deliver them. The outer world has no choice but to reflect the state you occupy internally. The greatest power you possess is your ability to direct your attention. Where you focus your mind, energy flows. If you constantly dwell on problems, they will persist and multiply. But if you focus on possibilities, solutions will emerge effortlessly. This is not because the world is changing on its own, but because your perception is changing. You are tuning your consciousness to a different reality, one where opportunities exist instead of obstacles. The shift is subtle, but profound. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, begin asking, what is this revealing about my inner world? Every situation, every interaction, every event in your life is an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. If you experience rejection, ask yourself where you have been holding onto unworthiness. If you encounter lack, examine the beliefs you have about abundance. If you find yourself surrounded by negativity, look within to see what assumptions are allowing it to persist. The world is not punishing or rewarding you, it is reflecting you. This understanding is the key to freedom. When you recognize that nothing outside of you has power over your life, you reclaim your ability to shape your reality. You no longer feel like a victim of circumstances. Instead, you see yourself as the creator. You do not beg the world to change, you change yourself and the world follows. There is no need to force anything. When you embody a new state of being, the external world shifts effortlessly. You do not have to chase what is meant for you. You simply have to align yourself with the feeling of already having it, and it will be drawn to you naturally. If you desire love, do not seek it outside yourself. Become love within, and it will appear in your life. If you desire success, do not struggle for it. Assume you are already successful, and success will find you. If you desire peace, do not fight for it. Cultivate inner peace, and the world will reflect it back to you. Every moment is an opportunity to step into a new version of yourself. The past has no hold over you unless you continue to identify with it. You are not bound by your history, your circumstances, or the opinions of others. The only thing that determines your reality is the state of consciousness you choose to occupy. If you want to change your life, change what you accept as true about yourself and the world. The process is simple but requires faith. You may not see immediate evidence, but trust that the change has already begun. Just as a seed takes time to grow before it breaks through the soil, your inner work is creating shifts that will soon be visible. Do not dig up the seed with doubt. Nurture it with unwavering belief, and in time it will bear fruit. There is no need to struggle against life. The moment you understand that the world is only reflecting you, you stop resisting and start creating. You let go of fear because you realize there is nothing outside of you that has power over you. You stop blaming others because you recognize that they are only playing the roles you unconsciously assigned to them. You stop waiting for change to come from the outside and instead take full responsibility for your inner state. The power has always been within you. The world is not separate from you, it is responding to you. The reality you experience is not random, it is the direct result of the assumptions you hold. And the moment you change those assumptions, the world has no choice but to follow. Everything in life is responding to the assumptions you hold. The universe is not separate from you, nor is it working against you. It is a living reflection of the consciousness you occupy. What you believe, expect, and assume to be true determines how life unfolds before you. When you assume that the universe is always working in your favor, you will begin to see evidence of this truth in every area of your life. Most people walk through life feeling as though they are subject to fate, external circumstances, or the unpredictable nature of events. They believe things happen to them rather than through them. They react to difficulties, resist challenges, and often feel like victims of forces beyond their control. But the moment you shift your perspective and assume that everything is unfolding in perfect alignment for your highest good, everything begins to change. If you were to fully embrace the belief that life is always conspiring for you, how differently would you experience your days? Imagine waking up each morning with the unwavering conviction that everything happening is guiding you, shaping you, and leading you towards something greater. Even the so-called setbacks, even the closed doors, even the moments of uncertainty, what if they were all part of a larger design working in your favor? When you assume the universe is on your side, your entire energy shifts. You stop fighting against life and start flowing with it. You release resistance, and in doing so, you allow things to unfold more effortlessly. This does not mean you sit back and do nothing. Rather, it means you move with confidence, knowing that every step is guided. You no longer second-guess opportunities or fear making the wrong choice, because you trust that whichever path you take will ultimately lead you to where you need to be. Doubt is the only thing that can disrupt this flow. The moment you question whether life is truly supporting you, you step out of alignment with that power. You begin to resist, worry, and stress over things that would have naturally resolved themselves. Fear makes you grasp tightly onto things that were meant to leave, and uncertainty makes you hesitate in moments that require bold action. But when you hold the assumption that the universe is for you, you act with faith. You take steps forward with the confidence that you are being led, even if you do not yet see how. Think of the moments in your life when something unexpected happened, and at the time you did not understand why. Perhaps a job opportunity fell through, a relationship ended, or a situation did not go as planned. In those moments, it may have felt like the universe was against you. But looking back, can you see how those events actually redirected you towards something better? Can you recognize that what seemed like an obstacle was really a doorway to something greater? When you begin to live with the assumption that life is always guiding you, you no longer fear the unknown. You trust that even the things that don't go according to plan are part of a plan far greater than you can comprehend. There is no such thing as coincidence in a universe governed by law. Everything is unfolding in perfect order. What you perceive as delays are often necessary pauses, allowing circumstances to align in ways you cannot yet see. What you perceive as rejection is often redirection, leading you towards something far better than what you originally sought. The universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you. But you must trust this process. You must assume in every moment that things are happening for you, not against you. Your assumptions shape the way you interpret the world. If you assume life is a struggle, you will find struggle everywhere. If you assume people cannot be trusted, you will attract situations that confirm this belief. But if you assume that the universe is a loving, supportive force, you will begin to experience life in a way that reflects this truth. You will meet people who uplift you, circumstances will align effortlessly, and even challenges will be seen as opportunities rather than obstacles. This assumption does not mean that life will be free of difficulties. there will still be moments of contrast, moments that challenge you, moments that stretch your understanding. But when you hold the belief that life is working for you, those moments will not break you. Instead, they will refine you. You will see them as part of your expansion rather than as punishments or random misfortunes. The way you move through life changes when you truly embrace this idea. You become calmer, more centered, and more at peace. You stop chasing after things in desperation, knowing that what is meant for you will find you. You stop resisting endings, understanding that they are necessary for new beginnings. You stop fearing change, because you recognize that every shift is moving you toward a greater version of yourself. What you assume to be true is what you will experience. If you walk through life expecting difficulty, you will encounter difficulty. If you assume that nothing ever works out for you, that is exactly what you will manifest. But if you choose, in every moment, to believe that the universe is your ally, you will start to see proof of this truth all around you. Opportunities will arise at the perfect time, people will enter your life who support your growth, and even the challenges you face will come with unexpected blessings. This shift in perspective is not just a mindset. It is a way of being. It requires you to step into a new level of trust, to release the need to control everything, and to surrender to the flow of life. It requires you to let go of fear and embrace faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. The universe is always responding to you. The way you think, feel, and act sends out a signal, and life mirrors that signal back to you. Every moment you have a choice. You can assume that life is against you, that things never work out, and that struggle is inevitable. Or you can assume that the universe is supporting you, that things are always working in your favor, and that every experience, good or bad, is leading you to something greater. The choice is always yours. And the moment you make the decision to trust that life is on your side, you will see evidence of that truth in every aspect of your reality. Your imagination is the key to shaping your reality. It is not just a place where thoughts wander aimlessly. It is the creative force that molds your world. Every image, every idea, every assumption you hold within your mind sets the stage for what unfolds in your life. The world you see before you is simply the reflection of what you have entertained in your imagination, whether consciously or unconsciously. Most people underestimate the power of their inner world. They believe imagination is just fantasy, something separate from the real world. But this could not be further from the truth. The unseen realm of thought is the blueprint from which reality takes form. What you repeatedly visualize, what you feel to be true, and what you persist in assuming, all of these things shape your external circumstances. If you imagine yourself failing, struggling, or being rejected, you will inevitably experience situations that confirm these inner fears. But if you can train yourself to imagine success, joy, and abundance, your outer world will begin to reflect those assumptions. Imagination is not just about wishful thinking. It is about assuming the feeling of your desired outcome as if it were already real. It is stepping into the version of yourself that has already received what you seek. The moment you claim something in imagination, you begin to attract its physical counterpart into your life. The unseen and the seen are not separate, they are intimately connected. The inner world dictates the outer world, not the other way around. Every day you are using your imagination, whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you using it consciously and deliberately, or are you allowing it to be controlled by fear and doubt? Most people unknowingly misuse their imagination, constantly dwelling on worst-case scenarios, replaying painful memories, and anticipating failure before it even happens. They assume rejection before they even try. They see obstacles before they see opportunities. And because imagination is the force that brings thoughts to life, these negative assumptions become their lived reality. To take control of your life, you must first take control of your imagination. You must deliberately choose to dwell on the vision of what you desire rather than on what you fear. Instead of imagining all the ways things could go wrong, imagine them going right. Instead of anticipating rejection, anticipate acceptance. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who struggles, see yourself as someone who thrives. This shift in focus may seem simple, but it is the key to transforming your reality. The secret lies in embodying the state of the wish fulfilled. This means that you do not merely think about your desires. You feel them as though they are already accomplished. You assume the inner state of the person who has already received what they desire. This is not pretending or mere positive thinking. This is an act of faith. It is aligning your inner world with the reality you wish to experience. When you assume something to be true in imagination, the external world will eventually conform to that assumption. The greatest mistake people make is waiting for external proof before they believe in their desires. They say, "I will believe it when I see it." But the truth is, you will see it when you believe it. The world outside of you cannot change until your inner world changes first. Your imagination must go ahead of you, leading the way. If you persist in assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself to match that assumption. The key to effective imagination is persistence. Many people try it for a moment, see no immediate change, and then fall back into their old patterns of doubt. But reality is not shaped in an instant. It is the result of sustained thought. You must return again and again to the state of your fulfilled desire. You must refuse to be swayed by temporary circumstances that contradict your vision. The outer world may take time to catch up, but if you hold firm in your assumption, it must eventually conform. Your emotions are powerful indicators of what you are imagining. If you feel anxious, fearful, or uncertain, it is because you are dwelling on an undesirable reality in your mind. But when you feel peace, confidence, and joy, you are aligned with the vision of your desired outcome. This is why it is so important to monitor your thoughts and feelings. Your emotions reveal what you are truly assuming beneath the surface. If something does not feel good, shift your focus. Redirect your imagination to something that uplifts and empowers you. One of the most powerful ways to use imagination is through mental rehearsals. Before an important event, see yourself succeeding. Before you meet someone, imagine the conversation going well. Before you take action toward a goal, envision yourself already achieving it. The more you repeat these mental images, the more natural they become. Eventually, they sink into your subconscious mind and begin to shape your reality effortlessly. There is no limit to what you can create when you fully harness the power of imagination. Every great invention, every breakthrough, every masterpiece that has ever been created first existed in someone's mind. The Wright brothers imagined flight before the first plane took off. Great musicians hear melodies in their minds before they bring them to life. Everything that exists in the physical world first existed in imagination. Your dreams are no different. If you can imagine it, you can bring it into existence. One of the greatest lessons you can learn is that your imagination is not separate from reality. It is reality in its unseen form. The moment you accept this truth, you begin to understand the power you hold. You are not a passive observer of life, you are its creator. You have the ability to shape your circumstances, mold your experiences, and direct the course of your life by choosing what you entertain in your imagination. This is why it is essential to discipline your mind. Do not allow yourself to dwell on fears, doubts, or limitations. The more you entertain a thought, the more power you give it. Instead, give your energy to the vision of what you truly desire. Make it real in your mind, feel it, embody it, and persist in that state until it becomes your living reality. There is nothing outside of you that is more powerful than what is within you. The world is simply a mirror reflecting back to you the contents of your imagination. Change the way you think, and the world around you must change accordingly. Assume the feeling of your desired outcome and watch as life reorganizes itself to match your assumption. There is no force working against you. There is only the power of your own imagination, waiting to be directed toward the life you truly desire. Your assumption shapes your world. What you persistently believe to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, sets the foundation for your reality. Every event, every interaction, every so-called coincidence is simply a reflection of what you have assumed about life, about yourself, and about the world around you. You are always in the process of creating, whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you deliberately assuming what you want, or are you letting old beliefs and past experiences dictate your future? Most people live by what they see, reacting to circumstances as though they are fixed and unchangeable. They believe that life happens to them, that their experiences are beyond their control. They assume that external conditions determine their state of being, and so they remain trapped in a cycle of reacting to what already exists. But this is not how reality works. The outer world is not the cause of your experience. It is the effect. The cause is always within you, your assumptions, your beliefs, your inner conversations. If you assume lack, you will experience lack. If you assume struggle, life will reflect struggle back to you. If you assume rejection, you will see evidence of rejection everywhere. But the moment you shift your assumption, the moment you declare, I am abundant, I am loved, I am successful, the outer world must begin to rearrange itself to match this new belief. This is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is about understanding that reality is fluid, shaped by the contents of your mind. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you assume to be true. Many people struggle with this concept because they are attached to what their senses tell them. They see their bank account, their job situation, their relationships, and they assume these things are facts that cannot change. But what they fail to realize is that these circumstances are simply the result of past assumptions. If you continue to assume based on what you see now, you will only perpetuate more of the same. To change your life, you must assume beyond what your senses currently report. You must persist in an inner conviction that overrides external appearances. The key is to live in the feeling of your desired reality before it materializes. This means you do not wait for evidence before you believe. You believe first and the evidence follows. This is where most people get stuck. They say, I will believe it when I see it. But the truth is, you will see it when you believe it. Your assumption precedes your experience. If you want love, assume that you are already deeply loved. If you want financial success, assume that you are already prosperous. If you want health, assume that you are already vibrant and whole. This assumption, if persisted in, must become your reality. Your subconscious mind does not question what you assume. It simply accepts it as fact and brings it to life. It is like the soil that brings forth whatever seed is planted. If you plant the seed of success, success will grow. If you plant the seed of failure, failure will grow. This is why it is crucial to guard your assumptions. Every day, you must choose the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. You must be vigilant about what you assume to be true, because what you assume is what you will experience. The greatest mistake people make is assuming based on appearances. They look at their current conditions and assume that these conditions define them. They assume that because they have struggled in the past, they will continue to struggle. They assume that because something hasn't happened yet, it won't happen at all. But this way of thinking is the very thing keeping them stuck. If you want change, you must assume change. You must live mentally in the new state before it becomes your reality. Assumption is not about forcing things to happen. It is about knowing they are already done. It is about resting in the certainty that what you desire is already yours. When you assume something fully, there is no need to struggle, no need to chase, no need to doubt. You simply dwell in the conviction that it is already accomplished. And because your inner world dictates your outer world, life must mirror that assumption back to you. There are those who will say, but what if I assume something and it doesn't happen? This is where persistence comes in. Most people give up too soon. They assume for a moment, and when they don't see immediate results, they fall back into their old patterns of doubt and fear. But assumption is not a fleeting thought, it is a state of being. It must be embodied, lived, and persisted in until it hardens into fact. The outer world takes time to catch up with the inner world, but it always does. If you assume wealth, you may not wake up tomorrow with $1 million in your bank account, but you will begin to experience opportunities, ideas, and circumstances that lead you toward that reality. If you assume love, you may not instantly be in the perfect relationship, but you will start to notice a shift in the way people treat you, in the way you feel about yourself, in the way love finds its way into your life. Assumption sets the wheels in motion, and persistence ensures that what you have assumed becomes your living reality. Many people allow doubt to creep in because they are looking for proof before they commit to their assumption. But this is like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it is growing. The seed needs time, care, and faith. You do not question whether the sun will rise tomorrow. You assume it will because you have seen it happen repeatedly. In the same way, you must assume your desires are unfolding, even if you cannot yet see them with your physical eyes. If you hold the assumption long enough, it must become your experience. Your assumptions also shape the way people respond to you. If you assume that you are unworthy, you will find people treating you as though you are unworthy. If you assume that you are respected, others will naturally respect you. This is not because people are consciously reacting to your thoughts, but because your inner state determines the energy you project, and the world responds accordingly. Change your assumption, and you change the way life interacts with you. The beauty of assumption is that it puts you in control of your life. You no longer have to wait for things to change before you feel different. You change your inner state first, and the world follows. This is why those who understand this principle walk with an unshakable confidence. They do not worry about circumstances because they know circumstances are fluid. They do not beg for opportunities because they assume they already have them. They do not fear loss because they assume they are always provided for. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Your assumptions are writing the script of your reality, whether you are aware of it or not. The moment you take responsibility for what you assume, you take back your power. You are no longer at the mercy of external conditions. You become the master of your fate. If you do not like what you see in your life, change what you assume about yourself, about the world, about what is possible. There is nothing standing between you and the life you desire, except the assumptions you currently hold. The moment you decide to assume differently, to persist in the state of your wish fulfilled, you step into a new reality. Everything begins within. The outer world is simply the mirror, faithfully reflecting back to you what you assume to be true. Assume wisely, persist unwaveringly, and watch as life reshapes itself to match the reality you have claimed as your own. The universe is not something separate from you dictating your fate while you stand powerless. You are not at the mercy of unseen forces, hoping that life will be kind. The power that creates worlds flows through you, responds to you, shapes itself according to your inner state. When you move in harmony with this power, when you align with it through assumption, everything conspires in your favor. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you, molded by what you persistently believe to be true. There are no accidents in this world, no random events disconnected from the consciousness that animates them. Every experience, every so-called coincidence is a reflection of an inner movement of belief. What you assume, you become. What you persist in, you manifest. The outer world is a living mirror, constantly reflecting back to you the state you occupy. When you grasp this truth, not as theory but as something you live by, you begin to experience the universe as an ally, not an adversary. You cease fighting against circumstances, cease doubting whether things will work out, cease looking for proof before you believe. Instead, you move with the quiet certainty that all things are working in your favor, that the unseen forces of life are arranging themselves according to your assumption. Most people do not experience life this way because they assume the universe is indifferent, or worse, against them. They expect obstacles, and so obstacles appear. They expect hardship, and so hardship persists. They move through life reacting to circumstances as though they are separate from their own inner state, never realizing that their assumptions are the cause. But the moment you assume differently, the moment you shift your perspective and truly accept that everything is unfolding for your benefit, you will see reality reorganize itself accordingly. You will find doors opening where before there were only walls. You will meet the right people at the right time. receive answers when you need them, and notice how effortlessly things begin to align. This is not about forcing things to happen. It is about stepping into the flow of life, knowing that it is always guiding you toward the fulfillment of your assumption. When you assume that everything is working in your favor, you release resistance. You stop grasping, stop chasing, stop doubting. You move with ease, with certainty, with trust. Because you understand that the outer world is simply catching up with the state you have already claimed within. This is not passive wishful thinking, it is an active participation in creation, a conscious decision to embody the reality you desire before it becomes visible. Imagine walking through life with the absolute conviction that everything is rigged in your favor. Imagine knowing beyond any doubt that every challenge is a setup for your success, that every delay is simply a redirection towards something better, that every closed door is guiding you toward the right one. When you live from this assumption, fear dissolves, worry becomes unnecessary. You no longer waste energy trying to control external conditions, because you know the only control you need is over your own inner state. And when your inner state is aligned with the conviction that life is on your side, the external world must reflect that truth. This is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending that problems don't exist. It is about seeing them differently, about recognizing that even seeming obstacles are part of a greater unfolding. When you assume that life is working for you, every setback becomes an opportunity. Every delay carries hidden blessings. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone. You no longer resist what is happening because you trust that it is ultimately leading you where you need to be. You stop questioning why things aren't happening on your timeline and instead embrace the knowing that they are happening in perfect timing. This shift in assumption changes everything. It transforms the way you approach life, the way you interact with others, the way you respond to difficulties. You begin to carry yourself with a quiet confidence, an unshakable certainty that all is well. People will notice the difference in you. They will see how effortlessly things seem to work out in your favor, how opportunities find you, how you navigate life with a sense of ease and assurance. And the truth is, it isn't because you are lucky or because circumstances suddenly changed. It is because you change. Your assumption shifted, and with it, reality had no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. Doubt is the only thing that can disrupt this process. If you assume life is working in your favor but then second guess it, constantly looking for evidence before you fully commit to the belief, you are planting seeds and then digging them up before they have a chance to grow. You must persist in the assumption even when appearances seem to contradict it. The world you see is always reflecting past assumptions. If you want to experience something new, you must assume it now and trust that the evidence will follow. This requires faith, but not faith in something outside of you, faith in yourself, in your own creative power, in the law that governs reality. Your subconscious mind does not question what you assume. It simply accepts it and moves to bring it into form. When you persist in the state of knowing that the universe is on your side, your subconscious orchestrates events, influences people, and arranges circumstances to align with that belief. This is why those who expect success find success. Those who assume love receive love. Those who believe in their own worth are treated as worthy. Reality does not play favorites. It simply reflects back what you deeply accept as true. If you want to test this, start small. Assume that something wonderful is going to happen today. Do not force it. Do not try to predict how it will unfold. Simply rest in the feeling that life is working in your favor. Move through your day as though you already know that unseen forces are aligning to bring you good. Watch how things begin to shift, how unexpected blessings arise, how opportunities appear without effort. The more you practice this, the more you will see the law in action, and the easier it will be to trust it in every aspect of your life. The greatest mistake people make is assuming against themselves. They assume failure, rejection, struggle, and then wonder why these things persist in their experience. But the moment you stop assuming against yourself, and instead assume that everything is unfolding perfectly, that life is not against you but for you, the transformation begins. You step into a new state, one where things happen with ease, where paths open effortlessly, where you no longer feel the need to struggle or fight against circumstances. This is not about denying reality. It is about choosing which reality you want to experience. There are infinite versions of reality available to you, each corresponding to a different state of consciousness. When you assume that life is on your side, you shift into a reality where that assumption is reflected back to you. The people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, the way events unfold, all of it aligns with your dominant state of being. This is why two people can live in the same world and have completely different experiences. One assumes struggle and finds it everywhere, while the other assumes ease and sees life unfold effortlessly. Your only job is to persist in the assumption that serves you. Do not let temporary appearances sway you. Do not look at circumstances and assume they are permanent. Instead, hold firm to the belief that life is always working for you, even when you cannot yet see how. When you do this, when you truly embody this knowing, the universe has no choice but to conform. Life becomes a dance, an effortless unfolding, a reflection of the inner harmony you have claimed as your own. There is a state of being where nothing can truly go wrong for you, a place within where you move through life with the certainty that all things are working in divine harmony, even when the outer world appears chaotic. The secret is not in trying to control circumstances, but in assuming that all things unfold for your highest good. When you accept this truth, fear dissolves, doubt fades, worry loses its grip. You no longer react to the world as though it holds power over you, because you recognize that the only power that matters is the one within. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. It is the outpicturing of your inner assumptions, the reflection of your own consciousness. You must live as if everything is already aligned in your favor. Walk with the confidence that unseen forces are conspiring to bring you exactly what you need. The moment you surrender to this knowing, life shifts. What once seemed like obstacles now become stepping stones. What appeared as loss now reveals itself as redirection. The things you once feared losing no longer hold power over you, because you understand that nothing real can be taken away. It is not the circumstances that dictate your reality, but your perception of them. If you assume that life is against you, you will find evidence to support that belief. But if you assume that life is always leading you to something greater, even the so-called misfortunes will be seen as blessings in disguise. You will look back at every seeming failure and recognize it was never failure at all, but a bridge to something better. Every moment presents a choice: to react as though you are at the mercy of fate, or to act as if nothing can truly go wrong for you. When you embody this faith, the world shifts in response. People, events, and opportunities arrange themselves effortlessly to reflect the assumption you hold. Life bends to your belief, not the other way around. Nothing is ever lost. Nothing is ever broken. Nothing is ever truly wrong. There is only movement, transformation, and the unfolding of a plan greater than what the limited mind can conceive. Trust in this, and you will find that you are always exactly where you need to be. The world you experience is not separate from you. It is not an independent force imposing itself upon you. Rather, it is the mirror of your inner state, reflecting your deepest assumptions, beliefs, and expectations. To understand this is to understand the fundamental principle that shapes your reality. Your consciousness is the cause, and the world is the effect. There is no external force dictating your life, only your perception, your beliefs, and the assumptions you hold to be true. Most people live as though the world is fixed, as though circumstances have an objective power over them. They react to life, believing that events unfold randomly or according to some external fate beyond their control. But when you grasp that your inner world determines your outer experience, you step into a new level of awareness. You realize that nothing happens by chance, and nothing appears in your life without first existing within you. Every situation, every interaction, every opportunity or obstacle is simply a reflection of your own consciousness. Your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious, dictate the experiences you attract. If you assume that life is difficult, that things never go your way, or that you are powerless to change your circumstances, those beliefs will materialize in your world. You will encounter setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles that seem to reinforce your negative assumption. But these events are not happening because the world is against you. They are happening because you hold beliefs that invite them into your experience. On the other hand, if you assume that life is unfolding perfectly for you, that things are always working in your favor, and that unseen forces are constantly guiding you toward your highest good, then the world will reflect that assumption as well. You will move through life with a sense of ease and flow, attracting experiences that validate your belief in divine order. Even when things appear to go wrong on the surface, you will recognize them as stepping stones leading you to something greater. The key to transformation lies in shifting your assumptions. You do not need to struggle against circumstances, fight against the world, or try to manipulate external conditions. You only need to change the way you see yourself and the way you interpret reality. The moment you assume a new state of being, the world has no choice but to conform. Reality bends to match the dominant vibration of your consciousness. You have already seen this principle at work in your life, whether you were aware of it or not. Think back to moments when you expected something to go wrong. Perhaps you feared rejection, failure, or disappointment. More often than not, your fears were validated. But consider also the moments when you felt certain that something would work out in your favor. When you carried yourself with confidence and acted from a place of inner knowing. More often than not, those situations unfolded effortlessly, as if the universe rearranged itself to support you. The truth is, the world is always rearranging itself according to your dominant state. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. Your inner state is like a magnet, pulling experiences into your life that match the frequency you hold within. If you wish to change your reality, you must begin by changing yourself. Not by forcing external conditions to shift, but by assuming the feeling of already being the person who lives the life you desire. This is not a process of wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is the deliberate cultivation of a state of being that aligns with the reality you want to experience. It requires discipline and awareness, because the mind has been conditioned to react to appearances rather than to create consciously. But the moment you recognize that your perception is the cause, not the effect, you reclaim your power. You no longer feel at the mercy of circumstances, because you understand that circumstances are simply the outpicturing of your consciousness. If you wish to experience abundance, you must assume the state of already being abundant. If you wish to experience love, you must assume the state of already being loved. If you wish to experience peace, you must assume the state of already being at peace. You do not wait for the world to change before you change your state. You change your state first, and the world follows. This is the secret that separates those who live in struggle from those who move through life with grace and ease. The moment you shift into a new assumption, the world begins to shift around you. People, opportunities, and events rearrange themselves to reflect your new state of being. This is why some people seem to attract success effortlessly, while others struggle despite their best efforts. It is not about hard work or luck. It is about the inner state they embody. Those who assume themselves to be successful, who carry the consciousness of success, will naturally find themselves in situations that confirm their belief. Those who assume themselves to be powerless will find themselves stuck in cycles of lack and limitation, no matter how hard they try to escape. Your reality is fluid, not fixed. It is constantly shifting in response to the energy you radiate. The world does not happen to you, it happens through you. When you fully accept this, you no longer fear the future, because you understand that the future is simply the projection of your present state. If you wish to create a different future, you must embody that future in your consciousness now. Nothing outside of you has the power to dictate your experience. No person, no event, no external circumstance can override the reality that you assume to be true. The only limitations that exist are the ones you accept as real. The moment you decide that nothing can truly go wrong for you, life begins to unfold accordingly. Obstacles dissolve, doors open, and what once seemed like barriers become opportunities. You are not a victim of fate, you are the creator of your reality. You've always been creating, whether consciously or unconsciously. The only question is whether you will now take the reins and create deliberately, knowing that your inner state is the force that shapes the world around you. When you truly understand that nothing can go wrong for you, fear and worry lose their power. Fear thrives in uncertainty, in the idea that something outside of your control may harm you, disappoint you, or take away what you hold dear. Worry feeds on the belief that you must be on guard at all times, constantly anticipating what could go wrong, as if preparing for the worst will somehow protect you. But the truth is, fear and worry only serve to keep you trapped in a cycle of limitation, reinforcing the very conditions you wish to avoid. Imagine walking through life with the unshakable belief that everything is unfolding perfectly, that there is no reason to fear, no reason to worry. How would that change the way you move, the way you speak, the way you approach each day? When you embrace the idea that nothing can truly go wrong for you, you free yourself from the emotional weight of doubt and hesitation. You step into a state of ease, where your actions become aligned with confidence rather than fear, and your energy radiates trust rather than resistance. The world you see is not separate from you, it is the reflection of your inner state. If you are ruled by fear, the world will seem full of threats. If you live in a state of worry, you will always find reasons to doubt. But if you assume that life is always working in your favor, even when appearances suggest otherwise, the world will begin to mirror that faith back to you. Consider the times when you have worried endlessly about something that never came to pass. How much energy was spent imagining worst-case scenarios, anticipating problems that never manifested. And even in the times when things didn't go as expected, how often did those experiences ultimately lead to something better? Looking back, you may realize that what once seemed like misfortune was actually a necessary step towards something greater. Fear and worry blind you to the larger picture. They keep you so focused on the immediate moment, on the discomfort of uncertainty, that you fail to see how everything is being arranged for your highest good. The mind, conditioned by past experiences and external influences, clings to control, believing that if it can just predict and prepare for every possibility, it will be safe. But safety does not come from control. It comes from trust. It comes from the deep knowing that life is not happening to you but responding to you, that nothing is ever truly lost, and that even apparent setbacks are stepping stones towards something greater. When you stop feeding fear and worry, you create space for clarity. Your mind is no longer clouded by anxious thoughts, and you begin to see opportunities where before you saw only obstacles. Your decisions become guided by inner wisdom rather than panic, and you move forward with a sense of calm assurance rather than hesitation. There is a reason why those who trust life seem to flow effortlessly through it. They do not resist change, they embrace it. They do not dwell on what could go wrong, they assume that everything is already right. This is not because they are naive or ignoring reality, it is because they understand that their perception shapes their experience. They know that fear serves no purpose other than to create the very outcomes they wish to avoid, while trust allows them to align with the unseen forces that are always working on their behalf. Think of the times in your life when you acted despite fear, when you let go of worry and moved forward with confidence. Did the worst case scenario happen, or did things work out better than expected? More often than not, you likely found that your fears were unfounded, that the obstacles you imagined never materialized, and that even the challenges you faced became opportunities for growth. Now imagine living with that certainty all the time, not just in moments of clarity, but as a way of being. Imagine releasing the need to predict every outcome, letting go of the idea that you must struggle to make things work. When you assume that nothing can truly go wrong, you no longer react to circumstances with panic or resistance. Instead, you remain centered, knowing that even what appears as difficulty is only part of a larger unfolding that you may not yet fully understand. Worrying about the future does not prevent problems, it creates them. Fear of failure does not protect you. It ensures that you will hesitate, hold back, and sabotage your own progress. The energy you put into anticipating difficulties is the very energy that brings them into being. But when you shift into a state of trust, when you act as if everything is already working out for you, life reorganizes itself to match that assumption. You begin to notice synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and effortless resolutions to what once seemed like insurmountable challenges. This shift does not mean that life will be without its challenges. It means that challenges will no longer hold power over you. It means that instead of seeing difficulties as setbacks, you see them as part of the greater design leading you toward your highest good. It means that instead of reacting with fear, you respond with confidence, knowing that every situation, no matter how it appears in the moment, is ultimately working for you. When you stop fearing loss, you find that nothing of true value can ever be taken from you. When you stop worrying about the future, you realize that the present moment contains everything you need. When you stop anticipating failure, success begins to flow naturally. This is the power of living in a state of trust, of knowing that you are always supported, always guided, and always exactly where you need to be. The only thing standing between you and this reality is your willingness to believe it. The moment you decide that fear and worry no longer serve you, they lose their grip. The moment you assume that nothing can truly go wrong for you, life responds in kind. It is not about denying reality, it is about choosing to see reality differently. It is about stepping into the version of yourself that no longer allows fear to dictate your experience. This is a shift in consciousness, a decision to no longer be ruled by the illusions of uncertainty. It is the recognition that you are not at the mercy of external forces, that you are the one shaping your world through your inner state. And when you move through life with this knowing, you become unshakable. You radiate a presence that attracts ease, flow, and alignment. You become the embodiment of trust, and in doing so, you invite life to show you just how perfectly everything is always working out for you. Everything in your world is a reflection of your state of consciousness. The circumstances you experience, the people you encounter, and the events that unfold in your life are all mirrors showing you what you hold to be true within yourself. If you believe that nothing can truly go wrong for you, then that belief must be reflected in your reality. This is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is the fundamental nature of how life responds to consciousness. You are not separate from the reality you experience. You are the source of it. Most people live as though the world is happening to them, as though they are subject to forces beyond their control, constantly reacting to circumstances rather than shaping them. But in truth, the world is happening through you. Your assumptions, your beliefs, and your expectations create the framework through which reality expresses itself. What you accept as real within will inevitably manifest without. If you assume that life is full of struggle, that things rarely go your way, or that you must fight for every bit of success, then life will continue to confirm those assumptions. But the moment you shift your internal state to one of certainty, to the deep conviction that life is always unfolding in your favor, everything begins to change. The external world is not as solid as it appears. It is fluid, responsive, always rearranging itself to reflect the dominant beliefs you hold. When you accept this truth, you no longer see yourself as a passive participant in life, but as the creator of your experience. You understand that every situation you encounter is a direct reflection of what you have accepted within. If you believe that setbacks are temporary and that even apparent obstacles are part of a greater unfolding, then that belief shapes your reality. You begin to experience life as a series of perfectly orchestrated events, leading you toward exactly what you need. The key to mastering this understanding lies in your ability to persist in your assumption, even when the outer world appears to contradict it. If you have decided that nothing can truly go wrong for you, then you must hold to that conviction regardless of temporary appearances. The world is slow to reflect changes in consciousness, because most people waver between different states, allowing fear and doubt to creep in the moment they do not see immediate evidence of what they desire. But those who remain steadfast in their assumption, who refuse to let circumstances dictate their state of being, ultimately find that life conforms to their inner reality. You do not need to control every event in your life. You only need to control the way you perceive it. The belief that nothing can truly go wrong for you does not mean that every moment will unfold exactly as you expect. It means that even when things appear uncertain, even when the path ahead is unclear, you remain unshaken because you know that everything is working in harmony with your deepest assumptions. When you refuse to accept failure, when you refuse to see yourself as a victim of chance, the world has no choice but to reflect that belief back to you. Consider the times in your life when things seem to be falling apart, only for them to later reveal themselves as necessary steps towards something greater. In the moment you may have felt disappointment, frustration, or even despair, but as time passed, you realized that those events were not setbacks at all. They were redirections, leading you to something far better than you could have anticipated. Now imagine living with that awareness in every moment, never doubting, never fearing, always knowing that life is moving in perfect alignment with your highest good. When you embody this understanding, you release the need for struggle. You stop trying to force outcomes, to manipulate circumstances, or to resist what is happening. You step into a flow state where your energy is no longer wasted on worry or resistance, but is instead directed toward moving confidently in the direction of your desires. This does not mean you do nothing. It means that your actions arise from a place of trust rather than desperation. The world responds not to your wishes but to your convictions. If you wish for something while simultaneously doubting its possibility, you create resistance. But if you assume that it is already done, if you walk through life as if your success is inevitable, then life must conform to that assumption. There is no force in the universe that can deny the one who knows that their reality is shaped from within. When you believe that nothing can go wrong for you, you stop fearing loss. You stop clinging to circumstances, relationships, or material things as if your well-being depends on them. You understand that everything that is truly meant for you will always find its way to you, and anything that leaves was never essential to your path. This freedom allows you to move through life with ease, unburdened by attachment or worry. You are not at the mercy of the world. The world is at the mercy of your assumptions. If you assume that life is chaotic, unpredictable, and full of hardship, then that is exactly what you will experience. But if you assume that life is supporting you, that everything is unfolding in perfect order, then that assumption will become the foundation of your reality. The choice is always yours. Do not wait for the world to prove this truth to you. Prove it to yourself by embodying it. Live as though nothing can truly go wrong, and watch as life begins to reflect that belief back to you in ways you never imagined. The power of assumption governs everything in your life. What you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, shapes your reality in ways you may not even recognize. This is not a passive force. It is the very structure upon which your entire experience is built. You are not merely reacting to circumstances, you are creating them. Every belief you hold, every thought you accept as fact, every expectation you carry is molding the world around you, and the most liberating truth you can realize is that you have the power to choose your assumptions. Most people move through life without questioning the beliefs they hold. They assume failure is possible, that struggle is inevitable, that things can go wrong at any moment. And because they hold these assumptions, life provides endless evidence to support them. But if you shift your assumptions, if you begin to believe that nothing can truly go wrong for you, that every event is unfolding in your favor, then the entire structure of your world must change. Life cannot help but conform to the dominant beliefs you hold. When you accept this truth, fear loses its grip on you. Worry no longer controls your thoughts. Anxiety dissolves because you know that no matter what happens, you are always being guided towards something greater. Even what appears to be a setback is merely a stepping stone. Even what seems like a loss is simply a redirection towards something better. But to experience this, you must first assume it to be true. Your assumptions act like seeds planted in the soil of your subconscious mind. Whatever you consistently assume, your mind accepts as fact, and the world begins to shift in response. If you assume that life is uncertain and that things could go wrong at any moment, your subconscious will filter reality to show you evidence of instability, reinforcing that belief. But if you assume that you are always moving in the right direction, that you are protected, that everything is unfolding perfectly, then that assumption begins to materialize in ways you may never have anticipated. You have already experienced the power of assumption, even if you were unaware of it at the time. Think back to a moment when you knew without a doubt that something would happen, and it did. Perhaps you expected to receive an opportunity and it came effortlessly. Perhaps you believed that a certain outcome was inevitable and it unfolded exactly as you imagined. This was not luck, nor was it coincidence. It was the natural law of assumption in action. The world had no choice but to conform to the state you held within yourself. This is why it is so crucial to take control of your assumptions. Many people assume things that do not serve them, carrying beliefs that lead to struggle, disappointment, and frustration. They assume they are unworthy of success, and so success eludes them. They assume relationships will fail, and so they experience heartache. They assume life is hard, and so it becomes difficult. But all of these experiences are simply reflections of the inner state they hold. The moment they shift their assumptions, the outer world begins to change. It is not enough to simply say that you believe something. You must embody the assumption fully. You must carry yourself as though it is already true. If you assume that nothing can go wrong for you, your entire demeanor changes. You walk with confidence, unshaken by temporary challenges. You no longer react with fear when things appear uncertain. You move with the knowing that every situation is leading you toward greater success, and because you hold that assumption, the world aligns to make it so. Doubt is the only thing that can interfere with this process. If you allow doubt to creep in, if you waver in your assumption, you send mixed signals to your subconscious, and the results you experience will reflect that uncertainty. This is why persistence is key. You must hold to your assumption unwaveringly, even when external circumstances have not yet caught up. The physical world takes time to reorganize itself around your new state of being, but if you remain steadfast, it must conform. This is where most people falter. They begin with strong conviction, but when they do not see immediate results, they fall back into old patterns of doubt and fear. They assume that things are not working, and so that assumption becomes their reality. But those who persist, those who refuse to waver in their belief, will always see the manifestation of their assumptions. The timing is not for you to control. Your only responsibility is to maintain the inner conviction that all is unfolding perfectly. Some may argue that bad things happen, that the world is unpredictable, that there are risks at every turn. But these are only assumptions that people have collectively accepted as truth. The only reason these ideas seem real is because they have been reinforced over time. When you remove yourself from these collective beliefs and choose to assume something different, you step into a reality where those fears no longer apply. You enter a state where you are untouched by circumstances, where the world bends to match your inner conviction. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law by which all things operate. The greatest minds, the most successful individuals, the ones who seem to move through life effortlessly, all share a common trait. They assume success. They assume they are guided. They assume that life works in their favor, and because they hold these assumptions, their lives unfold in ways that seem miraculous to others. But there is no miracle here, only the natural effect of a mind that has accepted a higher truth. You do not need to know how things will unfold. You do not need to see the entire path ahead. All you need to do is hold to your assumption and trust that the details will take care of themselves. The moment you decide that nothing can truly go wrong for you, you enter a new state of being. Life begins to arrange itself around your belief. People, opportunities, and circumstances shift to accommodate the assumption you carry. What once seemed like obstacles dissolve effortlessly. What once appeared to be setbacks reveal themselves as blessings in disguise. Your responsibility is simple: assume the best. Assume that you are always guided. Assume that every experience is leading you toward greater fulfillment. Assume that life is conspiring in your favor and refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts this truth. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. The more natural it becomes, the faster your reality transforms. You will reach a point where doubt no longer exists, where fear has no hold over you, where you move through life with absolute certainty that all is unfolding perfectly. Your world is a reflection of you. If you change your assumptions, you change your life. Hold to the belief that nothing can go wrong for you, and soon you will see the evidence of this truth everywhere you look. Everything in your life follows the state of being you occupy. This is the unshakable truth that governs your reality. You are not separate from your experiences. They are the outpicturing of the state you assume. If you are in a state of doubt, uncertainty, or fear, the world will reflect that state back to you. If you are in a state of confidence, trust, and knowing that all is unfolding perfectly, your world will conform to that assumption. The state you hold is the cause, and what appears in your life is merely the effect. Most people attempt to change the effects without addressing the cause. They seek external solutions to internal problems, not realizing that everything they experience originates from within. If you attempt to fix circumstances while still holding the same inner state, you will find yourself trapped in an endless cycle of struggle. The moment you shift your state, however, everything around you begins to change effortlessly. The people, events, and opportunities that match your new state begin to appear, and those that no longer align naturally fall away. Your state is not determined by outside events, it is determined by your inner world. Many believe that they will feel secure once circumstances improve, but this is backward thinking. It is the feeling of security that causes circumstances to improve. The world does not make you feel safe. Your assumption of safety is what creates a world that reflects it. If you wait for things to change before you change your state, you will wait forever. You must decide here and now to occupy the state of someone who knows that nothing can go wrong. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about recognizing that the meaning of every event is dictated by the state you hold. Two people can experience the same situation and interpret it in completely different ways based on their state of being. One person sees an obstacle and falls into despair, while another sees the same event as an opportunity for growth and transformation. The event itself has no inherent meaning. It is only your state that gives it. When you fully embody the state of knowing that you are always in control of your experience, you stop reacting to the external world. You are no longer swayed by temporary appearances. If something seems to go wrong, you do not panic, because you understand that appearances are deceptive. You know that your state determines the final outcome, and as long as you remain steadfast in your assumption, everything must work out in your favor. There is no force in existence that can override a deeply held inner conviction. This is why it is so important to maintain a consistent inner state. Many people fluctuate between confidence and doubt, between trust and fear. They may feel certain one day, but then allow external circumstances to shake that certainty the next. This inconsistency delays their manifestation because the subconscious mind responds to the dominant state you hold. If you want stability in your external world, you must first cultivate stability within. One of the greatest indicators of your state is how you react to unexpected situations. If you find yourself feeling anxious, worried, or frustrated when something does not go as planned, this is a sign that your state is still influenced by external events. But when you truly embody the assumption that nothing can go wrong for you, you remain calm in all situations. Even if things appear to be falling apart, you do not waver, because you know that appearances are temporary and that your inner state is the true power. The key to mastering this is persistence. You must persist in the state of confidence, trust, and knowing, even when there is no immediate evidence to support it. The outer world is always lagging behind your inner world, meaning that changes in your assumption take time to materialize. During this time, you may be tempted to fall back into old patterns of doubt, but this is where discipline is required. You must refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts your assumption. The more you persist in your chosen state, the more natural it becomes. At first, it may require conscious effort, but over time, it will become second nature. Eventually, you will reach a point where it feels unnatural to assume anything other than success, ease, and divine timing. When this happens, your reality will begin to reflect your new state effortlessly. You will no longer need to force anything, because your world will naturally conform to the frequency you are holding. This is the secret behind those who seem to move through life with ease. They have trained themselves to occupy a state of unwavering confidence in their path. They do not question whether things will work out. They simply assume that they already have. And because they hold this state consistently, their external world has no choice but to align with it. This is not luck, nor is it coincidence. It is simply the law of being in action. If you find yourself slipping into old patterns of doubt or fear, do not be discouraged. Simply recognize it as a signal to return to your desired state. You do not need to fight against negative thoughts or try to suppress them. You only need to redirect your attention. Remind yourself that your inner world creates your outer world. Choose in each moment to assume the state that aligns with the reality you desire. You can do this through repetition, visualization, and affirmations, but the most powerful tool is feeling. When you feel in the present moment as though nothing can go wrong for you, you are already living in that state. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only responds to the feeling you hold. When you consistently generate the feeling of security, trust, and ease, your subconscious accepts it as fact, and the world must follow. There will be moments where external events attempt to challenge your assumption. You may encounter setbacks, delays, or unexpected situations, but instead of reacting with fear, see these as tests of your faith. They are opportunities to strengthen your conviction, to prove to yourself that you can remain unshaken no matter what appears before you. Each time you hold your state despite the circumstances, you solidify your power even further. Eventually, this becomes effortless. You no longer need to remind yourself to assume the best, because it has become your natural state of being. At this point, your reality transforms rapidly. The things you once struggled to achieve now come easily. The obstacles you once faced no longer appear. Life begins to flow in a way that seems almost magical, but in truth, it is simply the result of your unwavering assumption. The world is a mirror, reflecting back to you the state you hold within. There is no external force controlling your destiny, only your own consciousness. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you reclaim your power. You do not need permission from anyone. You do not need circumstances to change before you do. All you need to do is decide right now that you are the one who determines your experience. Act as though nothing can truly go wrong for you, and you will see this truth reflected in your life. Hold the state of absolute certainty, and the world will rearrange itself accordingly. This is not theory, it is law. The only question is whether you will choose to accept it.